Hey everybody, I just wanted to jump on today and go over something that Martin mentioned on Sunday in a little bit more detail, just to help you see some more of what he was talking about in addition to what he mentioned Sunday. So, if you remember, one of the main scriptures was Leviticus 17:11. And in fact, that's what you're looking at right now. You're looking at Leviticus 17:11 in Hebrew. Now, I know it looks like a bunch of squiggly lines probably, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to translate this for you first, and then I'll go back through and point out a few key ideas and concepts that maybe aren't totally clear in coming through in translation. So first, let's translate it. And remember that Hebrew moves right to left. All right. So, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. So already we have a couple of key words. I'm going to use green for nephesh, which means life. That can mean soul. Some translations have soul. Also, literally, it can mean neck. But here I've translated it life. The other key word that we see is dam, which means blood. And I've used red to indicate that. So both of these words will actually come up again further in the translation, but I wanted to go ahead and point those out to you so that you can kind of see what was going on. So let's move to the next line. And I have given it, given what? The blood. I have given the blood to you upon the altar. To make atonement upon your lives. Now, this is where I'm actually probably deviating from what your Bible says. To be clear, your Bible is, the translation is accurate. And what they're trying to do something a little different than what I'm trying to do here, though. They're trying to give you as clearly as possible what that text means. And I want to bring out something that maybe isn't so obvious. The word nephesh that we've already marked here reappears here. Now, like I said, this can mean soul. And in your Bible, it probably appears as soul in the second instance there. But it is the same word. I think what the translators are getting at is they don't want you to understand this atonement as somehow providing maybe immortality or something like that. It's about the salvation of your soul. But for clarity's sake, for clarity's sake, they've done that, and for clarity's sake here, I've gone ahead and translated it lives. We've also picked up another key word here, the word kapar, which means to make atonement. Literally to cover. And that's actually why you see this word al means upon. I've translated that consistently. So the reason that appears instead of a different preposition is when you cover, you're covering over something. You're covering upon something. And so this atonement is upon your life. So let's move to the last line. We have another, this word is key, means for. So for the blood, the dam, it is, so for it is the blood is how I would translate that. That makes atonement by or for the life. Okay. All of our key words have reappeared, haven't they? You have blood, dam. You have nephesh, life. And then you have kapar, atonement. Now, why is this the case? Well, there's a little mark here. Hope you can see that. That little kind of upside down horseshoe, like tuning fork type thing. That's called an athnak. And while it's not a part of the original text was just the consonants. The athnak would be the traditional way to interpret this verse, and the athnak indicates the halfway point of the verse. And so we have these three transitional words. We have ki, which means for, wow, which means and ki, which means for again. So you have kind of three major clauses. And the athnak is marking the halfway. Well, notice you have two clauses before the halfway point, and you have one clause after the halfway point. So what's going on is you have two propositions. The first proposition is for the life of the flesh is in the blood. The second proposition is, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement upon your lives. Notice one other thing. The word ani appears here, which means I. That's not even strictly necessary, but what that's indicating is that the Lord himself, this is the Lord speaking, the Lord gives the blood upon the altar. No one else does. The Lord gives it. And so you have these two propositions that the life and the blood are connected, and that God has given the blood to cover your life. And here's your summary statement. For it is the blood that makes atonement for or by the life. And so you have these two propositions that end in a summary. Now this is really, really important even though this appears in Leviticus, this is really important for our understanding of Christ's sacrifice for us. Because we understand that the blood of Christ is what makes atonement for our lives, is what gives us life. And who gives it? The Lord gives it. So another thing, when we get to Isaiah 6, and the seraphim, or the seraph brings a coal from the altar, this is the same altar, the same mizbeach. And when the seraph brings the hot coal to Isaiah's lips in Isaiah 6, what he's doing is he's making atonement from the altar that the Lord has given. And so this verse is indicating how atonement is made. And again, this is really important for our Christian theology and for understanding what's going on in Isaiah 6, but also understanding how the blood of Christ covers our sin and covers our lives.